That breaking news as we look live over the skyline in Jerusalem. It's past 5 a.m. there. Sirens have been heard in nearby Tel Aviv. The U.S. has now closed embassies and reduced staff amid Iran's latest attacks. And in response, President Trump is now threatening a bigger wave of firepower still ahead. U.S. officials have now released the identities of 4 of the 6 U.S. military personnel who were killed in the opening days of this war. They were reservists serving in Kuwait, assigned to the Army's 103rd Sustainment Command. That's based out of Des Moines. They provide command and control overseas. There is new information as well coming in from Central Command. Our Robert Kovacik is here in studio with an update from the military leader of Operation Fury. Robert.
Colleen, and first up, what you are looking at right here, this is a new strike tonight by Iran, a drone strike attack near the American consulate in Dubai. Parts of the building in flames, but no injuries. As Iran unleashes new attacks against Arab countries, President Trump is touting success in the United States and Israeli operation. And now tonight, we are hearing from Admiral Brad Cooper, who is leading the U.S. military forces in the Middle East. After expressing condolences to the families of the Americans killed in action, Admiral Cooper offering where Operation Epic Fury stands right now after 4 days of execution.
More than 50,000 troops, 200 fighters, 2 aircraft carriers, and bombers from the United States are participating in this operation, and more capability is on the way. These forces bring a massive amount of firepower, representing the largest buildup by the U.S. in the Middle East in a generation. In the opening hours of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. Central Command forces, together with Israel, delivered overwhelming and unprecedented strikes into Iran. Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale, and we continue with 24/7 strikes into Iran from seabed to space and cyberspace. Now, we're less than 100 hours into this operation, and we've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions.
Admiral Cooper saying naval forces have deployed multiple waves of cruise missiles that have, quote, obliterated Iran air defense capabilities, and aircraft carriers are squeezing Iran from the sea and backing them into their own ports. All of this as a high volume of airstrikes continue right now into Iran. And according to this update from Central Command, every single branch of the United States military is achieving, quote, unprecedented success. And according to Admiral Cooper, who is running the show, from an overall operational assessment, we are, quote, ahead of our game plan. So, Colleen, once again, bears repeating, in the first 100 hours of Operation Fury in Iran, 2,000 targets have been struck. I'm Robert Kovacik. We'll see you tonight on the NBC4 News at 11.
All right, Robert, thank you for that. Thousands of flights out of the area have been canceled over the past few days. U.S. State Department says it's working to secure active military aircraft and charter flights in order to get Americans out. But there is some confusion over how that will work. We're joined now by NBC4's Homeland Security and Law Enforcement contributor, Dr. Errol Southers. Dr. Southers, once again, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Secretary Marco Rubio says more than 1,500 Americans are requesting help with travel there. How does that work?
Well, as was stated previously, the State Department is actively seeking military and charter aircraft to fly Americans out of the region. And earlier today, at least 3,000 citizens were seeking assistance or information. So they're asking people to register. There's a number that's been made available to them, and they're going to try to get them connected with these military or charter flights out of the region. Unfortunately, those people that are in Israel, the United States Embassy is not in a position to evacuate or directly assist Americans that are departing from Israel. Hopefully, Ben Gurion Airport will be up and running by Thursday, and they're planning on running 1 flight per hour for the first 24 hours to get about maybe 5,000 people back into Israel, but they're not allowing any flights to depart.
Dr. Southers, I remember talking with you once upon a time when you were sheltering during a missile attack in Israel. Describe for us, if you will, what that is like and how the Iron Dome actually works.
Thank you, Colleen. Very good question. So the sirens will go off, and literally every building in Israel is a shelter. I was teaching in a classroom. My classroom actually was a bomb shelter. Every bus stop is a shelter. You cannot build a home in Israel without having a safe room shelter in your home. Typically, you go into those shelters for about 10 minutes, and then you'll clear. During that time, when rockets are coming in, the Iron Dome does exactly what it says. It stops those missiles coming in. And you can see the trail of fire or smoke from missiles as they're intercepted in the air when they actually hit the dome. It's an incredible defense system. It works very accurately. And on very rare instances, does a missile ever get through it and land on the ground.
Dr. Southers, as we heard, embassies, consulates are being targeted here by drones and missiles. Is there a way to protect from that, or have they pretty much just been evacuated?
They're going to evacuate as much as possible. They're asking people to shelter in place. The Iron Dome works very effectively, so if they have that capability, it's good. But the challenge, Colleen, is that ahead of the 2025 war, the Israeli Defense Forces said that Iran had significantly increased its production rate on ballistic missiles from 3,000 to 8,000 missiles within 2 years. So they have an incredible stockpile.
We're talking about the stockpile, but a lot of people are focused on what is happening in the Middle East. What about retaliatory things here in the U.S. or other U.S. interests across the world?
Well, as the situation starts to deteriorate, you'll see that people may act out on their own. Needless to say, you'll have people that may be cooperative with Hamas or Hezbollah or the IRGC, and they will not be taking direct instructions or direction from those entities, but they may be engaging. So as there's proxies across the region and across the world decide to engage, that's something that we will all have to look for, and we've looked for decades now with regards to individuals acting out, some even being homegrown from the countries that they lived in for most of their lives. But they're sympathetic with the Iranian regime, and they could, in fact, attack a soft target both overseas or at home.
Is that pretty much what we saw in Pakistan and I think one other embassy or consulate yesterday?
Yeah, that was actually an interesting demonstration, and I believe they stormed the consulate in Pakistan. 22 people were killed, 120 people were injured, and that's exactly right. You had a mob that swarmed. They had enough people there. They tried to overwhelm the forces. Fortunately, they were not successful. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, you had several people get killed and a lot of people got injured, but they were able to defend the location.
Dr. Southers, as always, thank you for your insight on this. And no doubt we will be talking with you later in this week, if not tomorrow.
Thank you very much for having me.
NBC4 and the NBC News national team are covering the conflict around the clock, from the latest strikes and military personnel to gas prices and flight issues. We have continuous live updates, and you can find them at NBCLA.com or our NBCLA app.